Hey, I'm Jake, and today I'm talking about the 3 books that have had the biggest impact in my career. All right, so we're talking books today, and these 3 books have had a huge impact in my career. These books have filled holes or closed gaps in my knowledge and understanding of how I can operate as like an artist slash business slash creative, person who's trying to make stuff and get things done. What these books have done have shown me essentially how to have a better work-life balance, how to be more productive, and to have put systems in place that allow me to get my work done, to have a high degree of like productivity while also still maintaining a family and still maintaining my health and all of those important things that make like a person well-rounded and well-balanced. So I want to show you these, and I want to show you like a little bit of from each of the books. I've got them bookmarked here. A little bit about just what I was able to pull from these books and learn from some of them. This is a short video. I highly recommend you go and read all the books, but this just gives you like a little snippet of some of the things I learned and why I like these books so much. Now I know this is kind of like me taking off my glasses and say, here, try my prescription. It should work for you. Just because these work for me doesn't mean they're going to be like the thing that unlocks these aha moments for you. I've read dozens of books. You can see on my bookshelf back there, but these were the ones that really resonated with me and like just clicked. Things started making sense. Like, this is how I want to organize my days, organize my weeks, and organize like my perspective and my thought around how I should operate as a working artist. So let's get down into it. Okay, the first book that I want to talk about is Deep Work. This is by Cal Newport. Rules for Focused Success in a Distracted World. And this book could not have come to me at a better time because I was getting so frustrated with how my days were spent and how my weeks were spent and what I was accomplishing in a month's time. And I would look back at a day or a week and just be like, what did I get done? I have nothing to point to that shows I did anything. And this book just like unpacked that and showed me what I was doing wrong and how I could get focused and accomplish things that I wanted to accomplish. A couple things in here I want to show. The first quote here from this book that I want to pull out is about this author, Neal Stephenson. And it says here, Stephenson sees 2 mutually exclusive options. He can write good novels at a regular rate, or he can answer a lot of individual emails and attend conferences, and as a result produce lower quality novels at a slower rate. And I looked at that and I was like, oh my gosh, that's what's happening here. Is I'm spending all this time doing administrative stuff and answering emails and just getting distracted with things, and I'm not carving those out of my life so that I can do the work that's really going to resonate with people and that's really going to matter. And so that was like the mind shift. There's a couple other things in here that really like changed my mind. It says this book is all about like organizing your time and organizing your life. There's a popular notion that artists work from inspiration, that there's some strike or bolt or bubbling up of creative mojo from who knows where. But I hope my work makes clear that waiting for inspiration to strike is a terrible, terrible plan. In fact, perhaps the single best piece of advice I can offer to anyone trying to do creative work is to ignore inspiration. And it's put more succinctly here, or bluntly, by David Brooks. He says, great creative minds think like artists, but work like accountants. And that's what I needed to read, and that's what I needed to hear, is that, okay, yes, you're creative, and you have these crazy ideas, and you follow these weird, paths, and you kind of, you get an idea, and you got to execute it, but that doesn't mean you can't be disciplined, and you can't be focused, and you can't have, like, time carved out of each day for creating, and then time carved out each day for handling all the other stuff that you got to handle, you know, chores and laundry and answering emails and, you know, handling legal documents and contracts and stuff like that. Let me see if there's anything else in here. I like this idea. Don't take breaks from distraction. Instead, take breaks from focus. So instead of the default being you're always distracted, you're looking at your phone, you're looking at a YouTube video or whatever, you're actually in the focus mode, and then you take a break and you go have a distraction. So that time is like carved out for you. And then lastly here in this book, I wanted to show, he says, identify the main high-level goals in both your professional and your personal life. And so I wrote the goals in the margin here. And they were, you know, consistently put out good comics and picture books. 2, be a spouse and father actively engaged in my family's life. 3, be an effective member of SVS Learn and consistently put out good classes. And 4, maintain my health through eating and exercise. And, you know, those were like things that I had in the back of my head, but this book kind of forced me to write those down. And when you write something down, like, it becomes tangible, it becomes real, it exists, and it's something you can look forward to and remind yourself that's what I'm working towards. So, deep work. Highly, highly recommend this book. Go check it out. Okay, the next book that really changed how I thought about things was Real Artists Don't Starve by Jeff Goins. Timeless Strategies for Thriving in the New Creative Age. And one of the first things he talks about is Michelangelo. And there's this myth of the starving artist that, you know, in order to really be like a genuine artist who you know lives and dies for his craft and makes the things, you know, that are from the heart, that the artist has to suffer and you know, money is secondary. And he talks about Michelangelo, and when Michelangelo died, he had the equivalent of like $40 million in today's money. He had real estate. He had, you know, he had all these like business things that he was funneling money from his work, his artistic work, into other things. And this book really isn't about like how you diversify your income, but it does talk about like, yes, you need money in order to create. In fact, there's a quote in here from Walt Disney where it's, and this one just like rang true to me, is Walt Disney said, we don't make our movies to make money. What we do is we make money so that we can make more movies. Okay, and I love that idea. It's like, because if you know anything about Walt Disney, is he was always, you know, skirting the line financially, and it wasn't until, you know, the 70s and 80s that it became this huge, massive like company. But up until then, it was just this animation studio and this theme park thing that was always scrambling for money so they could pay to make the next film, the next creative thing. One other thing that I liked about this is this idea that you diversify your portfolio. You don't create one thing, but you create a portfolio of projects. And this is good for me because I get distracted and I want to work on a comic, and then I have an idea for a children's book and I want to do that, and then I have an idea for, you know, a class at SVS Learn and I want to do that. He talks about Dr. Dre, right? He talks about Dr. Dre, and he says Dr. Dre eventually sold off Beats to Apple in 2014 for $620 million. The deal made Dre one of the wealthiest musicians alive, but it also taught him an important lesson. He had left so many things behind for the sake of something new, and at times it looked like artistic flakiness. But it was more than that. What Dre was doing was not just bouncing from one creative project to the next. He was building a portfolio. It goes down to here that says, focus on the bigger picture. Yes, it's, you know, maybe you're making an album or a comic, or, you know, you're writing a play or something like that. But it says here, cultivating a portfolio mindset will keep you focused on what really matters. Not any single work, but on the whole creative life itself. So it's not just that you're doing this one project, but you're making a string of projects, and you want to make sure that you can do these string of projects and create an overall body of work that kind of says your message, shares your message, and says who you are as a creator. And in order to do that, you have to, earn a living. These projects have to make money. And this book just goes in and it just kind of unlocked a lot of things in my head. Income wasn't the goal. Continuing to create was. We don't make art for the money. We make money so that we can make more art. And that's kind of a version of that Disney quote. So I just love this book because it showed me, and I had, a friend of mine said this once. He's like, because I was always struggling. I've been really good at either making money for the sake of making money or making creative projects for the sake of making creative projects. But I have a hard time working on a creative project that makes money, right? That makes, enough to support my family and stuff. It's like when I mix business and creativity, I neither make something really impactful and creative and it doesn't make money, right? And so my friend, he said to me once, this was Scotty Young, we're having a call one time talking, and he said, Jake, just do what you got to do to make money and leave comics for yourself. And from what I got from that it was this thing that you do because you love it and you have a good idea and you're not worried about the financial side of it because you've already done what you needed to do to make money, so that you can take a risk on this thing and not be so stressed about the economics of it that the work suffers from that. So thanks to Scotty Young for that, and thanks to this book for helping me unlock that stuff in my mind. Lastly, Atomic Habits by James Clear. This book, I've read another book on The Power of Habits by Charles Duhigg, which is good, but this book gives you like the outline and the workflow, I guess, to actually make good habits, strong habits that help you get the things done that you want to get done and improve your life. And it helps you like get rid of the bad stuff that is like ruining your life. And the thing that totally like blew my mind in this one is this first thing that he talks about early on, where he's like setting up why you need this book. And he says, goals are about the results you want to achieve. Systems are about the process that leads you to those results. So there's a difference between goals and systems. Systems is like what you do day to day, and goals is what happens, what you accomplish when you do those things day to day. And he's asked this question: if you completely ignored your goals and focused only on your system, would you still succeed? And so I read that and I was like, okay, if I do the things, the systems that I have in place or the non-systems I have in place, if I keep doing what I'm doing every day, are my goals going to get accomplished? Or do I need to rearrange some things or change some things in my life so that I can accomplish my goals? And then you go through it and read the rest of this book, and it's like, here's how you do that. You give yourself, you make a habit like rewarding in and of itself, and there's all these little tricks you can do. Lastly, I want to just read this quote. I think it's one of the best quotes by James Clear. He says, "You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems." So oftentimes you think, I have to set this like, courageous goal, this healthy goal that's gonna get me off my butt and do things. And that's great, go for it. But if you don't have systems set in place to help you accomplish that, it's not going to happen. So, Atomic Habits. All right, hopefully that's helpful to you. Again, these books are Deep Work, Real Artists Don't Starve, and Atomic Habits. There's links below to where you can get them on Amazon, and the channel does get a kickback for every order you make through those links, so I appreciate that. However, if you can order from like an independent bookstore, go get one of these books from your local bookstore or find one online, because I like indie bookstores and I want them to still be around. All right, that's it. See you next video.